Welcome back to the Tigurium Hangar and welcome back to Retro Wednesday. Today I'm going to talk about a retro game system. Many of you, well, I would say almost everybody's heard of a Sega Genesis. And I would say maybe more people know the Genesis to look like this. But how many people have heard of the Master System? I think less people have heard of the Master System, but even less people knew that games came on these cards. Today I'm going to talk to you about all these cards, all the games that came on this card for the USA Sega Master System. Coming up. Lately it's become increasingly popular to collect TurboGrafx-16, collecting these Hue cards. And the Hue cards are really cool because a whole bunch of them would fit in your hand like this during a time that this is smaller than a game cartridge, and I've got like 10 or 15 games right here. Well, the Sega Master System had this. Now it was only about 32 kilobytes that could fit on it, so not every game could go on this. Only some games could fit on this. But a lot of people try to say that Sega copied the TurboGrafx-16, but it's impossible because the TurboGrafx-16 came later. Comparing the difference between these, I do want to show you a couple of things. First of all, the Master System has two sets of contacts, where there's only one set of contacts on the TurboGrafx-16. Now this is actually the Japanese version. I have my Japanese ones all loose, but the Japanese version looks the same as the American. The cool thing about this was that you could actually take the games with you. They fit into a portable, and it was a color display. Now the Master System itself didn't have a portable like the Turbo Express with the TurboGrafx-16. You simply put the card in here, powered your system on, and played that way, which was still really cool. You could store all of these in so much less space than it took with a cartridge. Speaking of space, look at the difference in size. Nearly 1/3 thinner than the standard cartridge. And then, of course, comparing a standard cartridge, and this is my Alpha I've had forever, to the card, what a difference. What a difference. I just think it's so cool. It's so much fun to go back and collect real odd things like this. So starting this off, I'm going to talk about the Hang-On card. Now, the thing is, this thing was only released in the system as a pack-in, was not released with its card back when it originally came out. Now there's a place down here for you to put your name. But it's kind of cool now. In some countries, it did get an extra release. It got a release with packaging, but not in the US. So most of these you're going to find loose. And I'm probably going to end up taking an extra box and making my own packaging because I'm just like that. Speaking of making my own packaging, I ended up getting this Ghost House, and I had it, this is the first one I got actually, and I've had it for a long time, and I finally got around to saying, you know what, I'm just going to make me some sort of package. It was missing the plastic around it, and of course no sleeve, so I made my own sleeve. It's not that impressive, but it's pretty rough shape, but it's the first one I got, and I got inspired to try to get more of these. Ghost House itself isn't really that great of a game. It's okay, it's sort of fun, but of course, you know, this is the 8-bit era, and this is sort of when they were having to compete with Nintendo. Next up, we have Teddy Boy. Now, Teddy Boy is a side-scrolling platformer, similar to Ghost House, but there's a little bit more to do than the Ghost House one. And I don't know, I played it, I didn't really think it was a whole lot of fun, but it's cool to have. I just like having these and collecting the hard copies. This one is actually in pretty good shape. I did kind of like that. And there's the scene. Out of all the games that are on these cards, Transbot is probably the best. It is a side-scrolling shooter. And you actually get power-ups to transform into a robot. So it's a transformer, and that looks like an AT-ST, or it could look like a Zendrati. Maybe it does look like Zendrati from the Robotech. but it's still pretty cool. It's inspired from that era. You can tell it's from the 80s, and it's fun. It's just a shooter. Shooters are fun, and it's not reinventing the wheel or anything. And this is what the cartridge looks like. And for whatever reason in here, there's a game catalog too. I thought that was weird. But oh well, that's cool. I would assume a game cartridge would come, or a game catalog would come with all of them. Now, F-16 Fighting Falcon, or F-16 Fighter, well, in some of the other countries they call it that, is the most boring game by far on these cards. So when you think about vintage flying games, Top Gun blows this out of the water. But yeah, it's okay, I guess. For the time, there wasn't a whole lot better, but by today's standards, it doesn't hold up. I think you can go back and play Top Gun and just feel like that holds up so much better. And looking in here, I don't have any instructions or anything, but still pretty cool. Now this is My Hero, and I played it a little bit. I feel like this game is really similar to a game called JJ and Jeff on the TurboGrafx-16. Yeah, and they have the similar type cards and all that. Really cool. It's a side scroller. It doesn't have very good gameplay mechanics, but neither did JJ and Jeff from what I remembered. So it's okay. It's one of the better ones, and it's pretty common too. I've got it in a baggie. I don't have a sleeve for it, but it was fun collecting these things. I think I collected them about 2 years ago. I got into collecting these guys, or finishing out my collection. Next up is Bank Panic. Now, oddly enough, this is the one I had to pay the most for out of all the ones I have. I think I paid $40 for it, or something like that. The rest were right around $20 to $30, depending on where I got them. And I think one I got for $7. So anyway, Bank Panic is an interesting game. I believe it's a shooter. You just shoot those. I think you have to use the gun. I might be wrong. I actually didn't play this game. I watched someone play it. But anyway, it's pretty cool. It looks good. And if it wasn't on this card, if they didn't put it on this card, I probably never ever would have had interest in buying it. Next up, I want to show Spy versus Spy. Now here's the thing about this. Every other game that was released in the US on this card had this little hand that was holding the card. That was the art. But this had actual art, which makes it kind of hard when you're tracking it down. You're like, is that the one that's with the card, or is that the cartridge? So that makes it a challenge to track it down. This actually was a little harder to find at the time 2 years ago. I just checked all of these, and this one is actually pretty easy to find on eBay right now. Looking at the game itself, there's screenshots. I actually do not understand how to play this game. I think I tried playing it for like 5 minutes, and I didn't take the time to figure it all out. Of course, I bought all these. I just wanted to try them all just for fun. But I'm going to tell you something that's sacrilege. I played them all in emulation. I didn't even play them on the Sega. Yeah, I know that's terrible. That's just completely terrible. Next up, there is Super Tennis on the card. And yeah, just a boring tennis game. When you look at the screenshots they've got on here, it is just simply a boring tennis game. But back in the day, man, it was about the same as Nintendo. It wasn't anything better. It wasn't anything worse. I think this whole Sega Master System is underrated though, because there are a lot of games on it that are just so unique, so different than you find anywhere else. And there's the actual card, which yes, it does match. They all do match that art there. Super Tennis, Lob Volley Smash. So I was looking at this Great Soccer. This is the cartridge. And the only reason I got it is because I just wanted to say I have a complete set. It's not a complete set. It's the actual cartridge, not the game. So what I decided to do was go ahead and buy this and have this as a filler until I find a card. Everybody wants like $200 for it. So for whatever reason, this one is super ultra duper extremely expensive. And that sucks. But if I ever come across one, I'll get it. If I don't, I mean, it's really, I'm done chasing them. I'm not going to chase them that hard. I'll just look once in a while. If I find a good deal, I'll get it. If not, now all the good deals you find in local shops or person to person. You don't find any good deals on stuff like this on eBay. I mean, you can get each one of these for like 20 bucks, but I got these for like $6 each. After like a buy one, get two free deal. It blew my mind. I bought this and I got 2 more of them for free. So I just picked up great golf and great football just for fun. The next thing I really want to mention is this game will not work on the Genesis adapter. So I'm trying to get a picture of the Genesis adapter up here. It will not work on the Genesis adapter because it uses the old original before Sega Master System with the SG-1000, I believe is what it was, and it uses that type of card, something on there. So it's sort of a backwards compatibility thing. So that was an interesting bit of information that I found out about these guys. What I want to talk about is what I wish I would have seen back in the day. I wish they would have made all of the games with these cards, on those cards. I do understand the cartridge must have been much cheaper to manufacture, and that's why they went that route. Maybe the cartridges hold up better, who knows? But these are 3 of the favorite games of mine from when I was a kid, and I still have them, and I can't believe how good a condition they're in. But I don't know how I still have them, to tell you the truth. I guess they were mixed in with my Nintendo stuff. But I did loan out my Rest On to somebody, and I never got it back when I was a kid. But I still have the box, so anyway, Shinobi, and Alf's not a good game, but I played it. It's a game I had and I played, and for whatever reason, I like it because I had it. It's a terrible game, by the way. I don't even know how to win it, but this kind of stuff I would have liked to see. More games, better games on those cards. Seems like the cards are the worst games out there. Let me know what you think about the Sega Master System. Let me know what you think about these interesting, thin little cards. Like, subscribe. Today's Hanger out.